This is a selection of figurines that I made in Catalhoyuk in the summer of 2007. They were made with the mud of the floor, which was very available. There was lots of it in Catalhoyuk, and that it was used also 10,000 years ago to build houses. So, it was very easy just to pick up some mud, sit down under the sun and with a bit of water and produce these things, which is probably very much like the way that the prehistoric inhabitants of Catalhoyuk would have done. Then, of course, I was forced to sort of drop them back into the floor and smash them so that there was no misunderstanding that those were figurines made by me and not by the original inhabitants of Catalhoyuk. As you can see, I also made some little sort of figures with cardboard, which I played with figurines. There are figurines of humans, there are figurines of animals, and some of them I hung them from the ceiling with a string, with a nylon string, and to try to investigate further, what these statuettes might have been used for. Were they sort of pornographic amulets, or the absolute opposite, trying to, venerate the sort of the concept of the mother goddess, of the creator of life, etc. And then there are the objects, sort of a ball with some sticks, could very well be a sun, and so many other things. And so that's about it. You can also see the interior of the experimental house built by the archaeologists, where they replicated a real interior. How the interiors were in the excavated houses that they managed to free from the underground. Yeah? And you can see that in the wall they reproduce wall painting, and to the left of the image, sort of rectangles or something. And then to the right, they also try to reproduce the famous painting of the volcano Hasandar. Well, if it is the volcano Hasandar, of course, this is just a theory. And then I use a little bit of plastic to put horns into this little creature, and so on. It was a great opportunity to be there because, I played with anything I felt like it. I had the sun to dry. I didn't even need anything sophisticated or any technology to do all these things. And also there was the extraordinary experience of being there, sitting in the same places where people had sat, tens, not tens of thousands, but thousands and thousands of years ago. Yeah. And roofs of the houses were classical. They were built very solidly so that people could actually eat, gather, sort of rest there. And then I took a sack of mud, this kind of plaster, to London, and I continued to produce little figurines and items, trying to, investigate further how did it feel to actually manipulate that material. It was so easy, it dries so quickly. And then, I thought, well, what other material could I use that existed in those days? And I assumed that maybe they had some form of bread because they had wheat. So I used the softer part of the bread to produce a series of figurines that then I let, rot, basically. And I photographed the process. You'll see that at the end of the video. At the moment we are still with the little figurines I did in Catalhoyuk, which I hung on the ceiling, as I said earlier. And some of them, I placed them close to the floor of the experimental house, a house that reproduced a true interior. Yeah. And the idea was to actually see what could I learn from it. Okay, so now there will be a silence, and yes, there is these balls as well, the sand that I was talking about, little, I can't remember how you call these things, a pestle and whatever the other thing is called, circles, snakes, and square, sort of pestle, except pestle, and more figurines hanging from the ceiling, the sun again, other shots of the sun. I think there are another 2 or 3 more. Yeah. Well, these are different views of it. I was actually trying to see if I could get the shadow of them, but the way I had the camera, I couldn't get them. That's again back to the interior, and that's the fresco I was saying with Hassan Da, and the sun again. And in here I played a little bit with the shadow and the beautiful blue Turkish sky. And these are bits of plaster I made with some decorations. And these are the figurines made of the softer part of the bread. And how eventually deteriorated and finally disintegrated.